In case you didn't play the previous game during the past 10 years, here's a recap. At the end of the previous game, this entire village was wiped out by the Azadi after killing April. So how come during April's funeral there's no sign of that attack? And how come there are so many people here? They should all be dead or shipped off to a prison camp given what we know about the Azadi. The only thing on this boat is April's burning corpse, yet somehow it turns by itself towards the only exit.
They say that every story has a beginning and an end.
Unless that story is Dreamfall: The Longest Journey, then it just sort of gives up towards the end with a bunch of unresolved plot threads.
Some stories simply stop.
In this case, I am in agreement with you 100%. At least they acknowledge their own sins. Saves me the time.
My mother did this to me.
Chang admitted to being your mother after she put you in a coma, so you never heard her say any of that.
The world is addicted to dreams. To dream time.
Even if you can dream anytime you want, is that really something you can get addicted to? It's a normal biological function that people do every night. We would all be addicted by now.
So, if I'm in a coma, how am I talking to you? My body may be here in a hospital, but my mind is elsewhere.
That does not explain how you were capable of breaking the fourth wall, or why you only break the fourth wall at the beginning and never again.
This is the story time.
I didn't know it was even possible for an English accent to be as raspy as Zoe's is. Zoe must have spent some time studying at the Kristen Stewart mouth-breathing school of acting between games.
People dreaming, trapped inside their own night terrors.
Why would anyone using a dreamer have nightmares? Isn't the whole point of having a dream machine that you can select to control your dreams? And why would they keep using it if it just makes them have horrible nightmares every night? Destroying a monster with a flashlight. Suddenly I'm getting Alan Wake flashbacks.
What's going on out there? More and more people are getting caught in loops.
You know exactly what's going on. People are using dreamers. You've been in the story time for over a year helping people escape their nightmares. And you just finished telling a little girl not to use her dreamer anymore.
You changed everything. That story had a beginning and an end.
I disagree with that statement, and so did the game's opening narration.
Will I see you again?
If all goes well, at the end of your journey, when your story is complete, you will see me again. One last time.
The vagabond says this, but the two of them never see each other again.
But yeah, okay. I'll, go. Find the key. Unlock the door. Remember everything. Save the world. Write my story. Return for epilogue. Bury hero's journey.
Zoe would be good at game sins. This game just couldn't help making a Sleeping Beauty reference by having Zoe's codename on the life support machine be Briar Rose.
Where do you think you're going? You're staying here with me, doing the only thing we're good at. Being dead.
Alternate versions of yourself will always tell you how much you suck, cliché. Just once, couldn't they offer some positive reinforcement? Or fashion advice, maybe? Why are you slightly taller than your past self? Holy shit, that guy's nose.
This goes one of two ways, Warden. Either you do what you're told and execute Kian Alvani by first light, or you find yourself hanging right next to him when the sun kisses the top of Friar's Keep tomorrow morning.
If Vamon wanted Kian executed so quickly, why did he keep him locked up in Friar's Keep for over a year? Considering how dangerous Kian is to your plans, why didn't you just have him killed back in the swamp along with April?
I have only one memory of my mother. She held me close one night and sang an old song from her country. Sleep in your mother's heart. Let the wind blow and the rain fall. Hear the executioner's call. Watch the traitor's head roll as the shadow takes his soul.
This is the song your mother sung you to sleep with? Did she know you were going to be executed one day and that you'd need a soundtrack for that? Apparently the warden has telekinesis because his hands were behind his back as the cell door opened.
Try me, Alvani. You may come to see that we're more alike than you thought.
You and I are not so different, cliché. I'm not sure why this guy started a riot to break Kian out. After all April had to do to get Zoe out was drag a guard with a sandwich and then help her climb out an unbarred window.
Who are you? Do I know you?
I bloody well hope so. You were this close to running me through with your sword.
What? The Swamp City?
Kian never even met you in the last game. You were in the swamp town when it was raided, sure, but Kian was arrested after finding April and he never saw you. Kian climbs up a dumbwaiter chute to the roof. However, the chain he climbed is not attached to the winch at the top. In fact, the chain disappears completely at the top. Rather than killing yourself to open a portal so Kian can escape, wouldn't using one of the guards as a sacrifice be just as good? You even threatened the warden on your way up and didn't kill him only because you didn't have the time.
I have only one memory of my mother. That night, she threw herself from the city walls into the shallows. Her body was never found. I always thought I would join her in the darkness.
Kian apparently got the memo that if you want a bigger role in the video game, you have to have dead parents. He spends the entire opening talking about his mother's suicide, and it's never brought up again.
Kian has escaped the keep.
What are you saying? That's impossible.
Well, it's not that impossible. Zoe escaped from it just over a year ago.
If she learns their precious apostle is still alive, she will want him alive so that she can speak to him. And if she learns the truth?
Keon doesn't know anything about your plans though. What could he possibly tell the first that would get the two of you killed? If your therapist wears his hair like that, make sure you take a close look at the diplomas hanging on his wall. Chances are they came from an online course.
I know, and I wish I could tell, but I'm not sure anymore.
Either the lip syncing is glitching during this scene, or Zoe is a ventriloquist. This therapy session exists solely to recap everything Zoe did during the last game, just in case you missed the opening narration, or the story recap option in the main menu.
Now, do you remember what that turned out to be?
After I woke up, they filled in the blanks. Apparently it was some sort of glitch or virus, rogue code infecting the World Wide Wire. Someone at Waticorp was using the Dream Machine to read people's minds.
Wait, so that's public knowledge now? Then how come everyone is still buying Dreamers if they know Waticorp wanted to see their dreams and control their minds?
Someone at Waticorp was using the Dream Machine to read people's minds. Someone I'd met.
Kavanagh.
Damien Kavanagh. That's right. The man behind it all, the perpetrator of the conspiracy. He'd put some sort of worm into the code, turning the Dream Machine into a mind-controlling tool affecting millions. At least that's what they say.
He recorded a confession before he... Yeah, he didn't want to rot away in a jail for the rest of his life, but at least he came clean.
Yeah, Damien being forced to take the fall for Waticorp would not dispel the public relations nightmare of being able to see people's dreams. Also, Damien was written down the plot with one single line, and Zoe's memories of that time are gone, so no resolution to his relationship with Zoe. The Dreamfall series continues its love affair with Watchmen references with an animated Rorschach test on the wall. Granted, it's a lot more subtle than dropping Dr. Manhattan into your game, but trust me, it gets way less subtle in just a minute. It only took 1 year for everyone to go from using Nokia-style smartphones to augmented reality vision.
That's why Leia Ominska is the best choice. No one's going to put the Marxists in office, Nela. At least my candidate has a fighting chance, and she is a socialist.
She's a moderate, Zoe. A moderate! What's the point in that? Moderation is just another word for compromise.
This game makes European politics a central element, and damn does this stuff get topical. You'll find plenty of references to right-wing Euro political parties with thinly masked names like National Front, Unity, and European Dawn. I wouldn't be surprised if I missed a mention of Brexit and UKIP.
Time to let those cunts know we're watching The Watchmen.
See? Told you.
Today's special is deep-fried Cambodian tarantula.
That's an Arab man running what is clearly a Chinese food cart but selling deep-fried insects. And then there's the matter of the clearly white girl who speaks with a Chinese accent and runs a Chinese food cart that sells grilled cheese.
What about Leah Ominska? She's a Sozi Seeker. She's weak and she's soft. With her in charge, the walls are coming down and the barbarian hordes will wash over Europe.
That's so racist.
Hey, if the game wants to point that out for me, I'm cool with it.
Face it, we don't have room for more immigrants. It's time we focus on rebuilding what Europolis is all about. Europe.
Episode 1 of this game came out in 2014, yet the NPCs sound like they're discussing political issues that didn't gain steam until the second half of 2015, so I guess I'm sinning real life for copying this game.
God damn this shitting shit!
Normally I would sin dialogue like this, but damn it, this character doesn't pull it off.
Well, don't just stand there like a fucking half... Wait!
And there's the pun of how Wit got his name.
Oh, I hate you so much right now, you dumb mute log!
This game continues the stereotype of mentally challenged people being huge and ridiculously strong.
That retard knows how to push my buttons. Yeah, you just keep turning the other cheek, Zod. You mother chode? I bet you've been faking your autism since we first met. Oh, you're such a fucking puppy dog, wait. Such a fucking Gondor. And no wonder your armor left you in the dumpster after she squirted you out of her filthy chute.
I'm not gonna lie, there's something I find incredibly refreshing about a character this un-PC in a game. That's hard to come by these days.
Are you my new human?
Nope, we're just going to work together today.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that.
I'm not sure that matters.
Are you hygienic? You look a bit unhygienic.
Despite the fact that the devs obviously tried really hard to make a meme out of Shitbot, right down to calling him Shitbot, I still absolutely love Shitbot.
I can't get the holding music out of my head. Tro-lo-lo-lo, dum-dum-dee-dum-dum-dee-dum-dum.
And now I'm smiling through my teeth after having just said that I like Shitbot. 30 minutes of padding by testing Shitbot out around the city. Entertaining padding, but padding nonetheless.
That wasn't just shit. That was sub-shit. A shit taken by a shit. We're delving into the filthy nether regions of shittiness here. That was a slap in the fucking face with a giant shit.
Hold on a second, lady. I already played Final Fantasy 13 too. I don't need a reminder. Rather than trying to scrub the graffiti off your political posters, try replacing the posters.
We're closed today, but seeing as you got past my girl, I guess you have legitimate business.
She got past your girl because you radioed her and told her to let Zoe through.
Prove to me that your party cares about this community and the people in it, and you'll have my support.
How do I prove that?
There's a girl, a young girl, Hannah Roth. Help Hannah. Find her.
Zoe finding Hannah, the girl that went missing, doesn't prove that the Social Democrats care about the people. It just proves that Zoe does, and she's willing to jump through hoops to get your support for their campaign.
Where do I start?
Nella Vilcek. She sells food.
Up top. The food court outside Seshadri Tower. I'm sorry, but yeah, I know Nella.
In a city full of millions, the missing girl Hannah was running errands for the same girl that Zoe gets her lunch from. Local mob boss is so into golf that he practices swing while his thugs shake down a political campaign manager. That is a man dedicated to his stereotype.
I ain't your cousin, mate. I ain't your mate, neither. Mr. London says you ain't never asked for his blessings, Colo.
This Asian guy is the most English person I've ever encountered in a game. That almost makes me wonder if they used the wrong character model. Mr. London spends a full minute threatening Zoe in a language she doesn't understand. That's a lot of work to set up this one threatening line when she doesn't even know what you said.
And the sooner you get that through your cocoa, the less Mal you'll need to deal with.
That's racist. One day, I'm going to find the man that came up with the idea of cutting away from sex scenes and make that man pay. Let's see, controlling a baby, 1950s style home and music. Suddenly I'm getting the opening of Fallout 3 flashbacks.
Hello, Saga. You're growing so fast, little one.
This baby doesn't understand a word you were saying, Ghost Lady.
There's so much of me in you, sister-daughter.
She can't be both of those things. Can she? I didn't play the first game, so I'm assuming there's something here that I'm missing out on.
Here, in the deep, in the dark, in the cold. Come to me, my sweet little Kian.
Kian's mother was depressing as hell. Did she ever offer any positive reinforcement? No wonder he ended up as an assassin for an empire of fantasy Nazis.
Traitor is back on his feet. Praise the balance.
Dave Finoy is becoming the Troy Baker of episodic adventure games.
You can't let me leave. If I refuse, you'll kill me.
We might kill you anyway. Just give me a reason.
Also, Dave Finoy is threatening to kill you in this scene. His roles lately seem to involve that scenario a lot.
I'm doing this for April Ryan. She was the one who made me question myself.
That woman I met like twice, I'm doing this for her.
I'm Enu. Actually, it's Enumar Sandhya, Twilight Child, daughter of Teomar, and...
Ah, I see you're a fan of young adult fiction then. And that's not just because of her full name. You know his personality is stuck in fangirl mode at all times.
Maybe some instructions first?
As I said on the boat we were just on minutes ago, Kian has 3 tasks.
And I feel like I need to repeat that information even though Kian would still remember it.
We also believe they attend National Front meetings. National Fronters are traitors, Azadi collaborators.
Also conveniently named after a real French nationalist party.
Afterwards, we'll meet up at the Cock and Puss.
The Rooster and Kitten.
They renamed the Cock and Puss to be more politically correct for this game. However, they still fill the rest of the game with innuendo, so I'm not sure why they bothered with this one little change.
Let me tell you how my operation work. You do something for me, I do something back.
That is actually how all operations work.
What do you need?
Need to intercept Runner. Messenger who pass word between guard station and city.
And we couldn't have done this ourselves. The messenger who runs the same route every night can be fooled by switching the road signs. Not 50 feet off his route, the mole's people kill the messenger, meaning they could have done this anytime they wanted and not bothered Kian with it. Bib gets caught trying to steal Kian's purse. How he's able to see Kian to even do this is a mystery, since before coming here, Kian drank a potion that makes him go unnoticed by people who don't know him or as long as he doesn't interact with them. And Bib has never met Kian before, and he was the one who engaged him. Angry woman rips up her invitation to the National Front rally and throws it on the ground, and Kian just puts it back together to read the passphrase off the back right in front of the guard. Yeah, Kian is supposed to be unnoticeable right now, but he already introduced himself to the guard when he tried to get in without knowing the password. Suddenly I'm getting clan rally flashback. Forget I just said that. If your political rally has to meet at night and wear hoods, you are probably not supporting a good cause. Especially if your leader is a blonde racist named Hilaris, get it? Hilaris, who's really into genocide. Also, that banner behind Hilaris is trying its hardest to be a swastika without actually being a swastika. Kian's mission is to blow up the weapons at the harbor. This should be an easy task for someone who can't be noticed by people who don't know him due to the potion he drank earlier, but for some reason here, Kian has to sneak because the guards will see him. That barkeep was ready to go with that mulled wine. What makes it even more impressive is that there's no space to store a mug behind his counter.
Be seeing you, friend.
Wait. How did you see through my veil?
What?
You shouldn't be able to recognize me on sight, unless you know me intimately.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Anna knows Kian from a long time ago when he saved her life, but Kian doesn't remember her. So instead of jogging his memory by telling him, she decides to roll with it for now and remind him later. The Azadi set up a trap by clearing the ghetto of all people just so they can station one soldier on a roof and fire one arrow at Kian as he walks by. If the guards had word that Kian was in the city, why didn't they group up and capture him? Also, this soldier should not be able to see Kian to shoot an arrow at him because of the potion Kian drank earlier. This game keeps forgetting that little point over and over again. I see that Zoe dreamed her way onto the white soundstage where 80% of pop music videos are filmed. Why does a girl appear in white panties and top in all 3 of the games in this series? I'm not asking because I think it's sexist fan service. I'm just curious why Ragnar, the project's lead, would reveal his fetish so easily.
Ixul Panax Brekar.
I'm not going to lie, I was legitimately startled to turn around and see this thing behind me. I'm willing to remove a sin for that.
Outside the dream, I will be sick.
Teleportation is always used to be a dick cliché.
Another dreamer. Wait, that wasn't real. That was just another dream.
Yes. And also much more. We needed you to come. You came. You will come here to help Lux.
Honestly, I think there's a lot of sins here, but hell if I can parse up Naxx's way of speaking to find them.
This one is the first dreamer. This one dreams, and the dream is the universe. When the dream ends...
What's happening? Where are you going?
Rather than give Zoe clear answers and directions, Naxxus wastes time playing the pronoun game until the dream ends and Zoe wakes up. As soon as Zoe leaves her apartment, she's hassled by the police about where she's going. It's not as if there's a curfew. It's morning after all, or it's supposed to be morning since Zoe just woke up and Reza went to work, yet it's still night. Regardless, everyone else is out on the street and not being interrogated. It's always raining when Zoe sees her therapist. It also appears to stop raining once her time is up. And it wasn't raining on her way to his office.
Your doubts, Dr. Zelenka, have been noted.
Shouldn't you be in a game of Team Fortress 2 right now instead of here?
My contact at Bokamba Mesa came across transactions between the Syndicate and Unity. There's money being funneled into our campaign from places money shouldn't be coming from. Corporate money.
Political corruption, you say? In Europe? Imagine that.
So, what is it you need me to do?
Access Unity servers and download the data.
I'm more surprised that a political campaign would ever let Zoe work for them in the first place than said campaign being corrupt. Zoe has a record of corporate espionage and currently works for a woman who deals with gangsters and illegal hacking software. And the campaign manager knows about it.
Seriously? You're not going to do me this one favor after everything I've done?
You mean the paid work you've done for me? Come, Bunchod. No. No, I'm not. Not unless you tell me why.
Why exactly do you want to know? It's obviously illegal, which means if she gets caught, you knowing about it puts you at risk. This member of Hannah's gang just so happens to come out of the same vent Zoe is looking at, and just so happens to drop the key that lets you open the vents. So very convenient. And not only that, but Zoe just happens to find another vent key stuck in the hatch of another vent. I just want to point out that there's good reason why adventure games died out for a decade. It's because of puzzles like this.
What do you want? Go away, I'm dreaming.
Not while you're awake, you aren't. If you're awake, it's plain old virtual reality you're experiencing. 200 years from now, people are for some inexplicable reason using Polaroids again. The Dreamer went through a radical redesign from its mutant plant facehugger face to a sleek Apple-style mask.
You can't help me. Queenie can't help me. No one can. If they find me, you really don't know who you're dealing with, and there's no way to stop them, all right?
I've run into Mr. London myself. I know how scary he can...
Mr. London? Right, sure. Scary. The people I'm hiding from are a lot worse than London.
Hannah refuses to say who's after her, preferring to play the pronoun game, even though Zoe guessed correct that it's Mr. London.
What do we have here? There are detailed records of meetings between Ominsker and Konstantin Wolf, arranged and attended by Waticorp officials.
There is no way you can read all those data points fast enough to make sense of it. They're scrolling non-stop and there are 2 data tables overlapping and scrolling at different speeds.
According to this, if Unity wins, Ominsker's going to give Wati a carte blanche to sell dream machines and operate dream emporiums in Europolis. Waticorp will be able to provide government-licensed Dreamtime access to everyone, everywhere, all the time. Unrestricted.
And they aren't already? There are people sitting out on the street constantly logged into Dreamers like drug addicts.
This could be the biggest, baddest thing since the last time Waticorp was in the news for trying to fuck us over.
I don't think bribing politicians is going to be on the same level as trying to mind control the population. I'm still trying to figure out how Wati managed to get people to buy Dreamers despite their obvious evilness. I guess they didn't bother to animate Baruti for the scene where Zoe tells him about giving the information about the Ominska campaign to the press instead of him. I had to look up what the word anamnesis means, and now you do too.
Before the riot broke out, the warden claims he was ordered to execute the apostle. By you.
personally, Commander.
Considering that you went to the trouble of making sure all the prison guards had their stories straight before being questioned by Hami, I'm surprised you overlooked the warden, the man who was the weakest link in your lie about what happened the night Kian escaped. There are so many facial scars going on in this conversation right now, it's hard for me to know who's the real villain.
May the goddess protect you, General.
That menacing tone will go unnoticed by Hami. I personally make it a point to suspect anyone who says goodbye while not looking at me to be plotting my murder.
I have a message from a common friend. She wishes to see you, alone, as soon as possible. She told me she'd wait for you where all of Old Town lies below us.
Anna should just say she wants to meet him at the Overlook. It's not like that was a code someone else couldn't figure out. And it was delivered by the barkeep, not a written note someone could intercept.
Why did you bring me all the way up here to tell me this?
Because I don't trust them or anyone. I've been burned in the past.
But why me?
Because you, Kian, I trust.
You still haven't bothered to tell him why you trust him, or want to make out with him. These are important details. In order to distract the Azadi guard so you can get to the captain, you have to get a merchant to make a sandwich for you. However, that sandwich is just a distraction so Bip can steal fireworks for the real distraction. What is it with this series and sandwich-based puzzles?
No. No!
Supposedly, Kian cuts this guy's junk. However, he didn't bring his sword up high enough to do that. Kian's sword was between his legs, but the tip was down by his ankles, and there was not much force in his jab.
The raid is taking place, just before sunrise. We still have several hours.
How did you come up?
Hey, Big Blue, let him speak.
Well, Kian did stop talking, which invites Liko to ask a follow-up question about what he just said.
But you let a child molester walk free. Was that because he's one of yours? And because the Domari girl is just another filthy magical?
I got to admit, when Dave Finnoy accuses you of letting a child molester go free, it sounds 100 times worse. Crow makes his first appearance in the game, but instead of talking, Crow is like a normal crow, which is something he never does, and in fact can't do by his own admission during the previous game.
So what's so important that you feel it takes precedence over the work I pay you to do?
I have an appointment with the editor of The Hand. They're doing a story and
he can't do this story without you.
Well, she's the source of the leak of the information you encouraged her to make public. Let her leave work early, lady.
Right now, they've confiscated our data banks and terminals, cut our wire access. But the data is safe. Our research is safe. We've learned our lessons. We keep everything on offshore servers in Iceland.
If the data is safe in Iceland, couldn't you just WikiLeaks that stuff? What else can you do there except reveal politically embarrassing emails?
I just need a favor. I need you to hold on to this for me.
What is it?
Something personal. Will you keep it safe?
Sure, but why? What's going on?
I don't want it to get lost, or...
Why would it? Nella, you're making me worried.
For someone who's about to blow herself up, Nella is being awfully cagey with details about this thing she's giving to Zoe that basically spells out why she suicide bombs the police headquarters. Hell, this thing has to be taken to a specific location to even activate, and she doesn't even tell Zoe that. She ends up finding it by accident. Zoe survives this. This game tests to see if you ever played the first game or not by having you assemble a timeline of it with Saga's drawings.
My butt's hurting.
Why is your butt hurting? You're standing up.
But she's pretty. Anna, I mean. Beautiful hair, striking freckles.
You never saw Anna. In fact, you've made it a running joke that you've only heard about her from Kian.
Is there anyone at all that you're...
Enu. I'm not interested in women.
You're not interested in... Sure! Oh, I knew that.
It's fine if the developers want Kian to be gay. However, they seem to have forgotten that he was attracted to women in the last game. Am I the only one who remembers this line?
This thing. She is obviously female. A woman. Her features may not be human, but she is attractive.
You see that gentleman sitting over there? Don't look, you simpletons.
You just asked them if they saw the guy sitting over there. You have to expect them to look in that direction after that.
Ulvik told me once of the legend of the Onyx Cockerel,
I do
High
miss
King
Old
of all
Town.
cocks.
You changed the name of this tavern from the Cock and Puss to make it less dirty, then went and put innuendo about black cocks inside it. This is either steampunk minesweeper or a much bigger version of the suicide bomb the Predator uses. Even steampunk makes use of the same tired nerd stereotypes.
This is a restricted zone. That's like 2 things that mean you shouldn't be here, and I could probably think of more if you need me to.
I have a sword, and I'm bigger than you.
You are bigger, but you don't carry a sword.
Using a calculating engine, we can actually track those stars and predict where they're going to be in a year from now, or a century, or where they were a century ago.
Why are you tracking stars?
Well, we're not. I mean, it's just an example. We're not actually tracking stars. We're tracking dreams.
Using a realistic hypothetical about what computers can do to describe something that computers cannot do.
We write messages, and we interpret messages. We tell the individual brains what to think about, and then they do the thinking and report back to us. This allows us to write ever more complex messages until finally we have the code we need, the ultimate message. That one we send to the tower.
Does it have anything to do with the ultimate answer or the ultimate question? Because this stuff is vague as hell. All I know is that this computer calculates dreams, and from that somehow can reshape the world.
You lied.
I beg your pardon?
You promised they'd be safe.
I've no idea what you're talking about.
Homie never lied to you. He's a Zodi, but one of the good ones. It was the other two that were in charge that lied about what's happening to the Magicals.
They have betrayed our nation, our faith, and you should have come to me first, Apostle.
He never had the opportunity. He was captured and kept in a prison for a year before being freed by the rebels.
When I received word someone had been spotted entering this house, I had a feeling it was you.
If any of the guards spotted Kian entering this house, they likely would have reported it to Vamon instead of you, since they're all loyal to him.
Go! Go, Kian! Make them pay for this!
Don't tire yourself out too much escaping, Kian. Just move at a leisurely pace. I'm sure the 90-pound programmer can keep the armed and veteran soldier at bay as long as you need.
Thank the balance your back. Bip's been...
They've taken him.
Taken.
How do you know Bip was taken? He was watching through a window while Kian confronted the programmer when he was abducted. If you saw that happen, you could have tried to stop it. Zoe watches the Exposition News Network, the most trusted network for filling in all the important details in a somewhat believable manner that doesn't require too much suspension of disbelief.
You're here for your dreamer.
What?
I fixed it. You had your dream machine delivered to me. Because it was broken, about a month ago, that German suit said you'd come by to pick it up.
What was wrong with it?
That's not the question you ask when you find out that someone you don't know delivered your dreamer to a repair shop without you knowing about it.
Every step you take, I'll be watching you, as mandated by martial law.
How about every breath I give up.
In the future, police drones will be programmed to reference 80s songs. According to Queenie, Nella had Hannah assemble the bomb that killed her, believing it was an EMP instead of an explosive. But if Hannah was the one who assembled it and was upset over what happened, why didn't she warn Nella that it was actually a bomb? She had to have known while putting it together. Cyberpunk Mary Poppins.
I never knew my mother, but I've been told that in many ways she's the opposite of my father. My mother's impulsive, mercurial.
Who told you all of this about your mother? The only person who could have is your father, and you haven't spoken with him since you woke up from your coma.
You look a lot better than you used to, and your voice, it's sultry.
Yeah, that's what a higher polygon model and a better voice actor will do for you.
You were really annoying to talk to.
Crow calling the kettle black. Zoe's woken up by gunshots and finds the German guy standing over her, pointing a gun at her head, only for the game to pull the old misdirection cliche and have him shoot the guy behind Zoe. Not one, but two different characters show up independently of each other to help Zoe escape.
You know I helped Nella with that device. The one that killed all those people.
You didn't know.
Well, she should have. She built it. You can't accidentally build a bomb when trying to make an EMP.
Hey Zoe, this is yours. You dropped it when... Boom.
You found that, did you? Even though you were huddled up in a tunnel with a dreamer on your face when Nella detonated the bomb. And that was 2 months ago. Why only return it now? The box Abby gave to Zoe starts beeping in the tunnels because it's close to the place where it can be viewed. Meaning Abby would have already heard it beeping since she just came through this tunnel to meet Zoe and Hannah, but didn't bother to mention it to them. Also, it's really fortunate that the device that plays Nella's message was in the same tunnel that Zoe and Hannah were using to escape. Like, really fortunate.
If I go to the authorities or the press, they'll sweep it all under the rug and make me disappear. They're good at that. If I carry out their plans, however, everyone pays attention.
If you carry out their plans, you are just doing exactly what they want. Wadicorp got away with selling a machine that reads people's dreams. I think they can get away with a terrorist bombing. Well, at least they're not just despawning Zoe when she dreams herself to another world anymore. So that Kickstarter money went to something.
Well, this shitting shit just got real.
Zoe has some convenient accuracy when traveling to Arcadia. In both games, she dreams herself into the Journeyman Inn upon arrival, which just so happens to be where Crow is nesting.
Did Abnaxis say anything more after I left?
But it was something to the effect of, "Bring her here. You will have brought her here. You will bring her here. You had have will be," etc., 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 etc. I believe the basic theme was, something about bringing someone somewhere.
And yet, Abnaxis didn't give Crow specific instructions on how to find the Purple Mountains.
The Journeyman is closed, but all patrons and well-wishers are welcome at the Rooster and Kitten on Ireed Avenue near Southgate. And here's a drawing of a rooster and a kitten, just to avoid any confusion, I guess.
That's right. A pussy riding a kitten. On a cock.
This game is so self-aware over the change it made to the cock and puss's name that it makes you wonder why they changed it in the first place. This makes 2 games in a row where upon arrival in Arcadia, Zoe meets someone who is connected to the rebels and is then captured and brought to the rebels' hideout.
They're bringing magicals through that gate and onto the cloud ship.
Where do they find more magicals to arrest in Markyria? They raided and burned down the ghetto months ago and shipped off the magicals to the camps.
You're leaving me.
Again.
What do you mean by...
My name isn't Anna. I use a different name in every city. It's safer that way. In Sadir, I was Elena, but I never told you my name. You don't recognize me. That's fair, I've changed. You haven't, except for the, you know, it's a good look for you.
You're the girl I saved from Vamon's gang.
This was the backstory we waited 3 episodes for, and it was a girl in Zadir that Keon saved from Vamon. This is so weak that I'm actually very happy that Keon is gay, so this intimate moment she fantasized about is ruined. The guard at the gate said they already finished loading the last of the magicals into the cloud ship, yet the lift is down like it's waiting on another load, allowing Keon and Liko to ride it up.
I know you. You arrived with that Stark girl yesterday.
Zoe told Crow to wait outside, so you never saw him yesterday.
Where exactly did they kidnap her to?
I'm not supposed to... Well, I reckon the chances of you being an Azadi spy are rather remote.
You had Zoe kidnapped because she was asking about the Resistance, and you know that Crow was with her, so why are you telling him where the Resistance base is? You shouldn't be telling anyone where that is regardless if they don't look Azadi. Has the idea of paid informant never crossed your mind? After exhausting all of her options for finding Amnaxis, someone starts talking about him right behind Zoe.
We will honor Azadi law and make Mercuria pure again. No more magic, no more magicals. And our women folk can once again return to home and hearth to be pampered and protected by their husbands, fathers, and brothers.
This game is pandering way too hard to feminists right now. If you're going to build a straw man to set on fire, you don't also have to make it look like fantasy Hitler and campaign like Donald Trump. Brian Westhouse just so happens to wait around outside Amnaxis' house hoping someone will show up with a magic key to open it up so he can get a look inside, which just so happened to be today. All of the important information will be in the middle of the book cliché. Also, important note falls out of the book cliché.
The Soul Stone was taken from Luke's by the warlock Clax. It must be retrieved, or the past, present, and future will cease to be. I don't know about any Soul Stone, but I'm guessing this Clax fellow does. Last I heard, he's doing children's theater here in town. Reformed, apparently, if that's a thing a wizard is capable of.
Concerned that you are the prophet that's behind all of this and that Clax is working for you, it's not in your best interest to point him out to Zoe or tell her about the Soul Stone.
My beloved finger puppets, beloved by all, children and critics alike. Gilbert Grutton of the Daily Mercurian called my show simply astonishing and wrote that it was quite impossible to look away. I couldn't believe my eyes and like a slow-motion cart wreck.
I'm pretty sure a critic in a fantasy world wouldn't know what slow motion is, since that's a film technique and film doesn't exist here.
Revolution in finger puppeteering, or as I call it, fingering, trademark and patent pending. The women in particular are quite ecstatic about it.
This joke made the cut, yet the cock and the puss had to be changed, did it?
Do you remember April Ryan?
April Ryan? Oh, yes, of course, absolutely, certainly, naturally. The bitter...
The brave young woman who came to my castle and stole it, and helped me put my sorceress past behind me.
Clax gets upset at the mention of April Ryan, even though in the previous game he thanked her for reforming him and was more than happy to help her.
You are Roper Clax, right? The wizard?
Who told you that?
Well, that sign, for one.
No, the wizard part.
You just mentioned that you used to be a wizard until April Ryan defeated you.
Wondering what happened to the stone.
She took it, that bitch.
Clax plays the pronoun game, so Zoe has to ask who she is. Meet our biggest Kickstarter backers.
There he is, Commander. The dangerous loon who's corrupting our youth with his occult finger rings.
They are not going to let that joke end, are they? Considering that we find out later that Clax is the one that built the machine inside the tower for the Prophet, wouldn't Vamon, who also works for the Prophet, know that Clax was on their side and not arrest him? It's strongly implied that Keon and Liko are really into each other, which is odd since Liko has spent the whole game hating Keon for killing his father years ago right in front of him. The Elguan Zoe has been riding on for days decides to throw her off for no reason, and it just so happens to throw her off at the right place and at the right time to meet someone who can take them to the Yaga. If it hadn't, they would have walked right past it.
Hey, you're that fretful furry thing we met the first time we came through here. Ben Franklin.
How do you know who Ben Franklin? You know what? Screw it. Crow is essentially the genie from Aladdin at this point. Zoe survives this, probably because it was animated so poorly. The Yaga house takes its sweet time not doing anything while Zoe figures out how to get inside it. Even though the Yaga are just another version of the Fates, I still love this part.
I'm human. I've made terrible decisions, but I don't linger on those decisions. I move forward and live with the consequences.
Whenever someone manages to convince Ancient Darkness to do the right thing by talking about their experiences as a human, I throw up in the back of my mouth.
We know this, little monkey.
This is why we are giving you the Soul Stone.
We were just fucking with you the entire time, cliché.
And a clever monkey. Beware the Wizard of Lies.
He schemes, he plots. He wishes to remake the world.
He wears a mask. He harbors ambitions.
We aren't going to tell you who he is, though, even though we know everything else about him.
You face Yaga and live? This is impossible.
Oh, you're bringing back Jar Jar memories with lines like that. Kian and Liko survive a fall from the wind ship into the ocean that would kill them dead.
All right. I suggest we scale the fence over there and make our way into...
We should split up.
Where do we meet?
If we make it that far, I'm sure we'll figure something out.
Not only are we splitting up, we're also planning this recklessly. This game is playing up the Nazi angle all the way to the Holocaust. Do you often hang out and do surgery in that hidden room? You run this place. There's no reason to do that behind a hidden wall.
I was aware that it knew you, so I thought it appropriate to work on this one tonight.
Which you shouldn't know, since Bip was just pulled off the street. No one outside the Rebels knew Bip was connected to Kion. She did not have that gun in her hand a moment ago.
I knew this was fate, playing her cards, granting me the opportunity to meet you face to face, to explain what we're doing here. I was hoping you'd approve.
So you let Kion sneak in just so you could play Bond villain and explain everything to him on the off chance that he's cool with genocide? You landed on a pile of corpses. How did that break both of your legs from such a short fall?
You didn't exactly make it easy. Why not, I don't know, just tell me where to go and what to do?
Zoe would be good at game sense.
Touching you through dreams will be like a blind man searching for a red pebble in a wild river. And if finding you is difficult, to talk even more so. Only fragments of words will survive the journey across.
She remembered every other detail of her dream of you, so you could have told her where to go.
We do not know where Lux's heart was. You will need to find it on your own.
That's fine and all, but you didn't even tell her that she needed to find the Soul Stone. Zoe found that by pure chance. Lex must be closely related to Link since she only communicates with grunts and sighs. Probably save the developers a lot of money on a voice actor though.
What do you mean that's not what... Nox? You mean the Yaga?
It's like Zoe is playing the pronoun game with herself. Looks like they went back to just despawning Zoe when she goes back to her own world. Saga was raised in a 1950s style lifestyle, so why is she so modern looking as a teenager? Zoe's mother has been keeping her since she put Zoe into a coma at the end of the last game. So why create a fake hospital room full of fake photos to try to convince Zoe this is all real if you never intended her to wake up and see any of it? You don't need to convince a coma patient.
That doesn't make any sense, Zoe. Of course I'm me. I've always been me. Wonker.
You look the same, but you don't act the same, and you don't sound the same. It's like someone put you together from memory.
Outside of Crow and Brian Westhouse, every character from the last game got a new voice actor and sounds completely different, including you.
It's like someone put you together from memory, but they didn't get the details right. They didn't know you like I know you.
Wonkers is Zoe's inception totem. Dicks out for Wonkers. Apparently, Chang doesn't keep the door to Zoe's room locked. She's only the most important part of her plan, after all. Well, that's one way to get a haircut and a change of clothes.
When I activate the engine, a new era will begin. We will shape this world according to the wishes of the goddess.
I guess the Prophet's ASMR YouTube career didn't pan out, since he's now speaking above a whisper.
Just get inside the tower and find the engine and contact us via the speaking tube. I'll walk you through the steps needed for me to take control, and then I'll force the engine to crash.
So I take it you're going to install Windows 10 on it.
Not that I feel ready. I prefer fighting an enemy I can see, and I don't understand what this engine is, or how Ferdow's plans to stop it, or what it's doing.
Yeah, I have pretty much the same questions. Sabotaging a bonfire shouldn't be this hard when it's raining out. Wine Merchant doesn't realize Kion swapped out his sample cup for a full-size flagon. I actually think it is impossible to confuse those two things without major visual impairments. Wine, no matter how strong, does not explode when lit.
What does this place have to do with the tower?
Okay, right. So, there's a secret passage leading from the cellar into a ruined subterranean city below Marcuria. Both April and Zoe used it. When April and Zoe did it, they fit perfectly, and they're... Wait. There was something else. When April passed through here, she had some sort of, egg.
I feel that Crow knowing all this stuff about the underground city below Marcuria is just the devs trying to explain a plot hole 10 years too late about how April got out of the caverns. And in the process, they created an entirely new plot hole, since Crow never went down into the caverns and shouldn't know any of this. He didn't even show up in the story until April had already been down here and found her way out.
Leave what you... Oh, thank the cruel gods of old you're here, finally! Please, save me from this...
Normally I'd be sinning Kian for falling for the oldest trick in the book, but seeing as I'm the one who was controlling him and turned him around, I'm the one who fell for the oldest trick in the book. Touché. Cool as that may be though, it's still just a cheap trick that you had to fail once just to reload to do it right.
Switch what with what? At the same time? That panel's on the other side of the chamber.
This operation usually requires 2 people.
Ferdows, I'm on my own here, you know that.
Ferdows knew that it would take 2 people inside the core to shut down the engine, yet he still let Kian go on this mission by himself without mentioning this little fact.
Mother Utana runs the Office of Scientific Research. I know this because I've been a messenger bird for the Mother both in Sadir and here in Marcuria. She's the top dog.
Crow reveals that he's acted as a messenger for Utana since around the end of the last game, and Utana just so happens to be the one in charge of the genocide of the Magicals. And it bears mentioning that Crow himself is a Magical. You would think that would be an issue for them.
You knew about the camps? About the Magicals? About what Sister Alessandra was doing?
She was also the one who sent Hami to the camps to find you, knowing full well that Hami didn't know about what was going on there, which ultimately led to him turning against the Azadi. That was probably not the wisest of decisions.
I don't know what to say, except I am truly sorry.
Well, that makes up for me falling for the oldest trick in the book.
Don't die on me.
You just stabbed him. He will very likely die without medical treatment. Suddenly I'm getting the Force Awakens flashbacks. Crow survives this. Sort of. Depends on whether you think coming back in a dream in a few minutes and then being reborn with the same body and personality in the ending counts. Apparently those helmets Wadi Corp soldiers wear are just for show, since the gas chain releases knocks them out cold.
There you are.
There you are, right where I locked you up after I gassed you.
Where's Dad?
You could clearly see him when you woke up.
For the past 1.5 years, you've been in a coma inside Jiva's labs in Mumbai. You've been dreaming.
No, that's not possible.
Hold on, I'm not saying it's all been a dream. Everything you've experienced has been real. That's what's so amazing and exciting, Zoe. While you were dreaming, you projected a physical binary of yourself into the waking world.
If Zoe has been in a coma for 1.5 years while she dreamed another version of herself into the world, her body should not be capable of walking around after waking up from a coma. Her muscles would be atrophied.
We needed you to return to that parallel otherworld to find and absorb a primal source of dreaming energy.
So you basically just crossed your fingers and hoped Zoe would find Lux, even though Zoe knew nothing about Lux until Obnaxis contacted her? A lot of your plot hinged on complete random chance. Zoe takes a walk through Fill in the Gap Land, a magical place where all the holes in the plot are filled in through visions of the past.
What are you doing here? You cannot be here. It will find you.
This game actually reuses the voice clips from the last game when Westhouse spoke to the Vagabond, even though the Vagabond in this game has a different voice actor. Also, how come the Vagabond never once warned Zoe about Westhouse during the years she spent in the story time with him? He was there when the Undreaming possessed Westhouse. Now that the game has shown its cards, I can reveal my true identity. It was me, Westhouse, all along. The only person it could have possibly been. Playing Saga at this point in the game is like getting a behind-the-scenes look at a Deus Ex Machina before it's introduced. Saga is here to make a healing potion for Kian and to help both him and Zoe do what they need to do because of a prophecy she was told by someone we never learn about. She even states she's doing this because it's the way the story was written.
Elixir of extraordinary extra-human strength, elixir of multiple consecutive climaxes.
What was that last one again? I'll have some of that, please.
Only the scepter can shatter the shard of the soul stone you carry within.
Get it? My staff. That's the only thing that can destroy the soul stone shard inside you. It would really suck if someone in the future saw a vision of this moment.
You'll stay close to me. In Marcuria, I'll call on you when I need you.
But in the meantime, you will live the life of a street merchant and perform finger puppet shows. My evil plan is genius!
Kian, Zoe, Zoe, Kian. I know you guys are supposed to speak. That's why we're all here. So speak.
Here's a girl who's read the script.
We've met before in...
We have. We keep missing each other.
We do.
You missed each other a total of 1 time, when Zoe was brought to the Resistance base, and you never even noticed that.
I happen to know the most brilliant engineer there is, in Stark at least. If anyone can wrap their head around a steampunk calculating engine, it's Wit.
I don't care how brilliant an engineer Wit may be. He is not going to be able to figure out how to reverse engineer a steampunk computer that calculates dreams and reshapes reality from diagrams written in a language he doesn't speak. Kian approaches Westhouse from the front, but then appears behind him in order to steal the staff.
Give me that! You don't know what you're doing.
You have telekinesis. You could stop Kian very easily from killing Klax.
So did it make sense to you?
The instructions? Yes.
Wit actually managed to come up with a way to shut down the engine and explain to Deferdau, who can't even understand someone speaking English in our world since people from Arcadia don't speak English, but a magic language that gets translated to English to people who cross over to their world from ours.
You're trying to destroy everything I've
Yeah, that's a force choke right there. And that's a force push. Does Disney know about this? Wait, so the Undreaming was the dark half of Lux? I thought that the Yaga were the dark side of Lux. That's what they implied, or at least what I thought they implied.
I promise you, it's for real this time.
Maybe you shouldn't put Zoe in a hospital bed that looks exactly like the fake one she was in back at Chang's. Zoe's dad explains how everything in the world has worked out for the best. Wadi is in trouble, the dream machines are no longer being used, and Chang is gone. Neat and tidy. So unlike the last game, but still so very disappointing.
Fingering, trademark and patent pending.